Scientism and the Occult.
We start off with Pythagoras, and is where we get the Pythagorean theorem, and that basically comes down to understand even the curvature of the Earth. We use the Pythagorean theorem, 8 inches per mile squared. And again, the Pythagorean theorem is very, very important because it basically started off a lot of the scientific thought right down through, Copernicus and Darwin, and many of them got their thoughts through Pythagoras. Pythagoras, again, there's some very interesting things. If you study into Pythagoras, you find out that he wasn't a biblical man, he wasn't getting things through scripture, he was getting things through the mystery schools, through the occult. Pythagoras by no means was getting this revelation through his mind. A lot of my investigation supports the fact that men are not smart enough to devise such an elaborate scheme as far as the Big Bang or the beginning of the cosmos, even to the theory of evolution.
Our alphabet, the buildings that surround us, even the music we hear, owes a debt to this brilliant philosopher. In his pursuit of wisdom, Pythagoras traveled broadly, searching for lost occult knowledge. He found it in the mystery schools scattered throughout many different cultures. Pythagoras synthesized the elements of these teachings into a new discipline, philosophy. Its foundation, numbers.
He believed that mathematics and philosophy and an understanding of the divine all went together.
We can't say he originated anything, but he condensed and boiled down the knowledge of the world and then brought it to a practical application.
Pythagoras identified numbers as the most fundamental elements of creation.
As we look at science in this day and age, we're finding that the whole world is filled with these mathematical constants. You've got pi, you've got the speed of light, you've got the force of gravitation. So the idea that numbers describe the world seems to be the case.
He wanted to produce philosophers like himself, so you had to be very circumspect, you had to be very self-controlled to be able to even be in his school.
Pythagoras turned the numbering system of the Babylonians into a sacred science.
They believed that number was like God. And to connect with this was to be talking to God. And so from that arises a whole lot of symbolism that later becomes numerology, Kabbalah, things like that.
So the long and the short of it is that the Pythagorean mysticism, fetching disguised as something scientific, reduced practically everything to mathematical numbers. Does that ring any kind of bell in our information age, frequently called the digital age? Because factual math is so dependable, so exact, so capable of producing technological marvels, people have had very good reason to trust anything that is said to be mathematical supportable. Such as the Copernican heliocentric model, for example, Newton's work, Einstein. The same is true of factual science, of course. Little, however, do people in general even remotely suspect that there is any subjectivity, much less occult spiritism, occult in either mathematics or science. The general belief is that both math and science are strictly objective enterprises and strictly secular tools in the hand of a rather elite band of ultra-realistic laborers for mankind. The theoretical science establishment has cultivated the image that it is uniquely removed and aloof from any contamination by philosophies and religions. The establishment's mantra is that mathematics and science represents a dedicated search for truth. You want proof? Just take a look at how they got rid of all that superstitious stuff about God, who created everything that exists in the heavens and on the earth.